Okay, good morning or good day, everyone. So, for today, we're going to talk about the narrative structure of creative nonfiction. So, in the past few discussions, we keep on talking about the different genres of literature, and somehow we have tackled there the different structures or the plot of those genres of literature. So, today, we're going to compare those plot components or those structures of the different genres of literature to the structure of creative nonfiction. So for this lesson, here are our objectives. So at the end of this lesson or at the end of the discussion, first, you will be able to identify the narrative structure of CNF or creative nonfiction, similar to that of fiction. So, as I have said a while ago, we will be comparing the structure or the plot of these two genres of literature. Second, we're going to analyze and interpret factual or non-fictional aspects of CNF and then evaluate the relationship of creative and non-fictional elements of CNF, write a draft of a personal essay, do peer editing, and revise your draft. And then fifth is use clearly and coherently multiple elements conventionally identified with the genre for a written output. So since we have defined creative nonfiction as a broad genre of literature wherein we are applying the techniques and strategies we use in writing fiction, poetry, drama, when we are dealing with factual information. So we or I will be requiring you to use those strategies or elements in writing your creative non-fictional text. Okay, and then lastly, do a close reading of CNF or creative non-fiction text. Okay, so again, these are our objectives for this lesson. So we will be starting with the basic structure or the basic structure of all narrative text. Okay, so in the past lesson, we have discussed essay. Okay, and we somehow tackled the structure of an essay. So there we have discussed that an essay has an introduction, body paragraph or paragraphs, and conclusion. So that's the basic structure of an essay. But if we will be looking at the structure of all narrative texts, may it be fiction, may it be uh, drama, may it be a narrative poetry, or may it be a narrative essay, they all follow a certain basic structure. Okay? And that structure or that basic structure has three parts, and those are beginning, middle, and the ending. Okay? So you can even map it out, or you can also observe it in essays. Okay? May it be a descriptive essay, a narrative essay, a argumentative essay, or a persuasive essay. It still has, or those essays still use this same basic structure, beginning, middle, end. And we will just somehow change the name of that terms into introduction, body, and conclusion. But still, they somehow have the same function. Okay? So you can check the comparison of these basic structure to the different structures of the different genres of literature. Okay, so try to look at this table. Okay, so I have mapped it out or put every part of the plot on the specific basic structure with where it will land. Okay, so for example, in fictional work, may it be a short story, flash fiction, or novelette or novel, exposition will fall under the beginning. Okay, and then under the middle part of the story, we have the rising action and the climax. And then at the ending part of it, we have the falling action or the denouement. Okay? And then same applies to the narrative poetry. Okay? Since narrative poetry is a poem that tells a story, so it also has its beginning wherein your persona or the speaker of the poem will be somehow introduced. Okay? And then you also have the climax, some of the most interesting parts of the poem will be encountered here. And then we also have the ending of the narrative poem. Okay? And then under drama, it may it be a long drama or just a 10-minute or 5-minute play, it still follows the same basic structure, which is beginning, middle, end. So since in a drama, we also use the plot components, exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, or end resolution. Those um, plot components will also fall under the same plot components or basic structure as a fictional work. Okay? And then in an essay, we call the beginning as our introduction, the part wherein we introduce our main topic, okay, or the main idea of the essay. We also have the middle part or the body paragraphs, and we have the conclusion. Okay? So that is the basic structure of all narrative texts. Okay? They all follow this basic structure, beginning, middle, end. Okay? So that's the basic structure of somehow a literary piece. So moving forward, so since we will be focusing now on writing your creative non-fictional text, so it is important to somehow review the ways where we can improve our output. Okay, so we will now be reviewing the strategies wherein we can improve our introductory part or the introductory part of our pieces. Okay, so when writing your introduction, first you must consider the interest of your readers. So the main purpose of the introduction is to get the attention of your readers. Okay? The main goal of it is for you to hook your readers so that they will not be bored when reading your essay. Okay? So when writing formal essays or if you will be writing formal essay, first make sure that you have mentioned or you have put your main idea or the thesis statement in the introduction. If you failed to do that, make sure that the thesis statement must be uh, found on the last paragraph or the concluding paragraph. Okay, so majority of the writer put their in thesis statement in the introduction, but again, if they failed to do it, if you will be dealing with formal essay, the thesis statement will be located at the concluding paragraph or at the last paragraph of the essay. So the first paragraph, so as we all know, it introduces the main idea of our essay. Okay, we can find the topic of the essay most especially in the first paragraph or in the introductory paragraph. In the introduction part, we are, aside from the main idea, we also include here our key points or sometimes at least three major points for the discussion of the essay. So these three major points will be discussed in the body of our essay. So also in the introductory paragraph, you may include there the challenges or the problems that your essay will be resolving. Okay, or the essay will somehow try to resolve. So your introduction must not be long. Okay, you may write it into 3 to 5 sentences. You may also somehow exceed up to 7, but make sure that your introduction must be an interesting one. Okay, since the main goal of it is to hook your audience or to get the attention of your audience. So, brevity or being short is important in writing our introduction. So even if your introductory paragraph is only one sentence thesis statement, even if it's a one sentence only, if that sentence is somehow crowded, the idea is not that clear, okay, you have written it into a worthy sentence, your audience will be bored. Okay, so in writing your introduction, you may apply some strategies or techniques so that it will be an interesting introduction for your readers. So most of us, most of the writers out there, we are commonly using questions to start our paragraph. We are asking questions so that that question or those questions will be answered on the body of the body of the essay. Okay, so aside from using questions, you here are some of the styles or strategies that we may apply whenever we are writing our introduction. So again, you may start with a question, and that question will be answered on uh, the body of our essay. You may also start with a quotation or a quote taken from a statement of a certain person, taken from a book, okay? But make sure that the message of that quote or the idea behind that quote is related to the topic of our essay. And then you may also start with an anecdote. So, an anecdote is a short, interesting incident or story. So, just like a quote, make sure that the idea or the topic, the message of that story or that incident is really related or connected to your topic or to the topic of your essay. You may also use sound devices like euphony, cacophony, onomatopoeia. You may also apply, you may also get some lines where in alliteration, consonants, and the other sound devices were applied. Okay, and then you may also start with a dialogue or lines taken from conversations of a certain person. So just like any other styles here, you really must show the connection of your style or of the strategy that you have chosen to that topic that you are writing about. Okay, and then you may also use song lyrics. Again, the message of that lyrics must be connected to your topic. And then lastly, you may also use vignette or short impressionistic scenes. So vignette is a detailed description of a certain event or a certain object. So it's a detailed description or a detailed uh, discussion of that object, but it is still short. When reading this vignette, you will somehow imagine or visualize what is being written on that specific text. Okay? So the key point or the key idea here is that whenever you are using these styles or strategies, make sure that you can establish the connection between the message of these texts that you have uh, borrowed from other sources to the topic. You can establish the connection of these to the topic of your essays. If you fail to do it, these strategies will be useless. Okay? So, then again, the narrative structure of an essay. So, saying that the narrative structure is composed or comprised of the beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't mean that we will be following the chronological order of or the chronological arrangement of a story, or it doesn't mean that we will really start with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Since we are writing creative nonfiction, we can still apply the narrative techniques used in writing fictions or dramas like en media res, flashback, and foreshadowings. We can still apply these different types of plot so that the essay or the narrative essay will be interesting. Okay, it will somehow uh, maintain that interests from our readers. Also, if you are dealing with a somehow broad or you are writing a lengthy essay, we can use subheadings. So subheadings is a minor title or a heading for a subsection of piece of writing. So it is somehow convenient for us to use subheadings so that we can establish the divisions between our subtopics or between uh, the sections of our essay. So in here, we can establish that this specific part of our essay will talk about this specific concerns or area of the topic, and then the latter part will also talk about their specific concerns or areas of the topic. Okay, so in that way, our essay will be organized. Okay, it will somehow be pleasant to the eyes of the readers. Somehow they will not be overwhelmed when seeing your lengthy essay. Okay, so those are the strategies that you may apply whenever you are writing your introduction and whenever you are writing your essay. So again, your introduction must hook the attention or get must not just get, it must retain or maintain the interest from your readers. Okay, so that's lesson 5. Thank you for listening.